Goal in life as a high school grad was to luckily go to university, get a degree in physics, become a meteorologist, eventually work for the government meteorology as a forecaster at the Air Force Base, and hopefully the Air Force Base in Germany, would you believe. That was my goal. I wanted to have after that maybe a small house, a large dog, and that was the plan. Okay, so plans don't always happen. Be ready. I wasn't. Things changed. Things that were not within my control. But by following through and still saying, keeping that goal, things went afoul my first year of university. It didn't go according to plan. All of a sudden I was human. I actually bombed out on a few courses. Was pretty close to a good mental breakdown at that point, but managed to rework the whole program a little bit. I still had that goal in mind though. Man, I was going to be a weather forecaster. And so eventually, yes, I did become a weather forecaster. I was posted to CFB Summerside in Prince Edward Island. Gotta say, it's a very nice place. That was just my stepping stone, man. I could just visualize at that stage that position in Lahr, Germany, though, working with the troops there, the air troops. And that was still in mind. Only problem was, another thing happened. I met a guy. Yeah. Anyway, wasn't part of my plan, but you know, he had a lot of potential. So I thought, well, maybe I'll work him into the plan somehow or other. And it was always the somehow that was the question. But then things changed up again, and he was offered a position in Montreal as an airline pilot. So here I am moving to Montreal. Montreal, my job wouldn't relocate me, even though I was a federal employee. I was looking at unemployment in Quebec in the 70s. I didn't speak French. It was not a pretty picture. But luckily enough, the same airline that he got hired with was looking for positions for flight dispatchers. The funny thing was, I'd spent 5 years planning to be a weather forecaster. My position as a weather forecaster lasted about a year. So, interestingly though, the changes kept happening again. That same job that I worked at in flight dispatch for 24.5 years eventually took me to Alberta, brought me right here. It eventually, with both of us being involved in the airline, made us think about, well, you know, this is kind of stressful. Some of you might have known about Canadian Airlines and the history of what we went through. So we were looking for something to release some of the stress. That happened to be gardening and, lo and behold, beekeeping. Well, why not turn that hobby into a business? Now, on itself, it sounds pretty straightforward, but at that time, this was talking about 14 years ago, there really wasn't anything like a small apiary that was good, able to do value-added products. All the beekeepers in this province, for the most part, count their hives by the thousands. Well, we count ours by the hundreds, sometimes by the dozens if we've had a bad winter. But trying to do this business model in a way different fashion than the average apiary was being held or done, especially in 2004, just wasn't heard of. What we do is very much on a small scale as far as our production. We have a lot of different products that are value added, whether they are jams, jellies, sauces, everything you can imagine, and especially the honey wine. So the honey wine was definitely, as Diane alluded to, a first. We were the first meadery within the province. To be able to do that, produce the mead commercially, we first had to make sure it was legal. That would be good. Which involved some work with AGLC to get the regulations going to allow for commercial beekeepers to produce, in fact, actually not even commercial beekeepers, but beekeepers to produce mead and sell it on a commercial level. We initially tried doing all of it ourselves. Sound familiar? So we were making the jams and the syrups and the this and the that. So now we've been able to get help as far as that goes. We do still a lot of jams and jellies on site. And then we do soaps, things like that, but those are done by some really good people. As I say, if you can't be a specialist in everything, so find the specialists and give them a hand, and so we do get help from a lot of people. Certainly from our store, it was something that was never done before. We're still probably one of the first in Alberta to have this small, very honey-centric store on our farm. And also getting out of our comfort zone. Boy, you know, it's studying, you get into a routine, but pushing yourself outside your comfort zone is such a big thing. There's, as people have mentioned already today, huge growth to be found in that. The biggest thing is to embrace change, to look for it, to warm up to it, and believe in yourself. It's a huge thing. Thank you.